Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you want to know the right definition of what is audacity, people are seated in a conference, people are talking, and then this Indian American man says that, why are you always talking about black people in this conference? I mean, these are just people, because the lady who was talking was trying to express the issues which are happening to the black community, especially in that conference. And it is a conference of different people. They had the Asians, they had different groups of people in that meeting. And then this Asian American person says that black people are complaining too much. Why talking about racism? Why talking about things which are happening to black people? We should also talk about other things. That's a big audacity that is happening in this scenario. So with that case, he received a backlash about what happened to him. So I want us to watch this video and then come back and let's have a critical analysis of what is going on in this video. We are also going to talk about how people feed on the complaints that they say black Americans always complain, that black people always complain. Remember, it is the complaints of these black people that has made it easier for even other groups to fight for some civilization or for some things that they consider that is right. So I want us to watch this video and then I'll come up with my critical analysis about this issue, because always people take advantage of the complaints, and then after taking advantage of the complaint, they benefit of the complaint of the same people. This is the same exact thing what this Asian American man displayed in this conference. So I want us to watch this video and then come back, say something. If you're watching this video for the first time, consider subscribing to the channel. You see the join button which is right down there. Consider joining my channel and see what it can offer you. Until then, let's dive into the video and say something about it.
I think you build a foundation of your speech on working against identity politics. Yet, I think so conveniently, and it was kind of ignorant, that all of your examples of oppression or people going through struggle were all from the black community. So if you could so conveniently use one specific ethnicity to kind of propagate your ideals, is that not identity politics in itself?
You allege I only spoke about what black people face in this society, and that that's a form of identity politics. In fact, it is not. First of all, I spoke about the Bangladeshi women in the sweatshops sewing our clothes. I talked about women who've been forced to have children against their will in that form of enslavement. I spoke about trans people who have faced over 500 laws this year introduced or passed, not to mention the terror that's enforced against them. I spoke about what happens on this planet as a whole as it is heating due to the destruction of climate change driven forward by the system of capitalism, imperialism. So if you missed all that, I'm not surprised if you also missed some of the scientific undergirdings of it. But to be fair, I will walk through it again. I speak about black people in a very pronounced way when we come to revolution, because the exploitation, the enslavement, the dehumanization, and the degradation that's been inflicted on black people is foundational to this society and this system. And that is scientifically a fact. It's evidence-based. The wealth of this country, the territorial reach of this country, the military strength of this country got its roots in American slavery, the chattel slavery of black people. And then on that foundation, the ideology of white supremacy, of black inferiority, was propagated. It was made a bedrock, of one of the glues of this society, and it has been woven into this society ever since. The forms of oppression have changed. It took a civil war to end slavery, but then what happened? After not even 10 years of Reconstruction, where black people were brought into some rights within this country, that was betrayed. The troops were pulled out, and black people were re-enslaved in new conditions, slavery by another name, sharecropping for generations, serf-like conditions enforced through terror, lynch mob terror and violence. And the troops were pulled out to go and finish off the extermination of the native peoples. Okay? Then another generation comes up in the face of changes in the U.S. economy and the need to pull black people out of the South and into the factories. Black people stood up and they waged struggle in a civil rights movement. They gave their lives. They stood up. White people stood with them. They went down from the north and stood with them. This upended Jim Crow. It was heroic that many did just unbelievably brave things. And then that was dismantled. And what did this system come back with? A new Jim Crow of mass incarceration that has ground up millions of black lives. So when I tell the story, this is science, when I tell the story of a black woman in Harlem with binoculars next to her window watching in terror every time her 12-year-old, 13-year-old son crosses the street because of what police do every day to black people. Every fucking day. When I talk about that, that is a particular that concentrates a huge reality that is defining to this country. And that's scientifically true. It's evidence-based. It's woven into the fabric of this society. It's culture, it's economics, and it's global reach. And so we could debate. If you want to argue that's not scientific, bring some evidence. If you didn't hear the science, then please. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me that it's a marginal thing. Tell me that to talk about that, I'm pimping off of it. I'm acknowledging reality. You want to say it's not defining to this country, that we shouldn't talk about it?
I want you to talk about it.
I am talking about it, yeah.
Okay, so just the fact that something actually happened or is true doesn't, anything that's empirically based is not science, right? It's like saying anything that's true is a scientifically, like, it's science. It's not. So I understand.
Okay. Let me help. Oh, go ahead. Maybe he should get the mic.
I understand that your point is I want to be building arguments based on reason and rationale.
Here, take the mic just so it gets.
I understand that your point is I want to be building arguments on reason and rationale, but that doesn't mean that it's scientific, and that doesn't mean that it's false or wrong.
Okay.
I'm saying that the validity of your argument doesn't increase by throwing the word science out.
Okay, so I would argue that science actually can be applied to all of reality, not just narrowly in engineering or in the natural sciences. No, this is important. What you're raising is widely felt, it's widely believed, it's widely taught, I'm sure, on this campus, that you can apply science to medicine, to nature, to the natural world. There's the hard sciences, but when you get to social reality, it's just opinions, it's experience, whatever. No. You can apply science to everything. Everything that is part of reality, which societies are, can be analyzed scientifically. Yeah. All science means, in a universal sense, is it's an evidence-based process. You gather evidence about reality, and you look for the deeper causes of the patterns in reality. And you can apply that to a society, just like you can apply it to a rainforest, just like you can apply it to a virus. You can say, what is the most defining thing about any given society? What undergirds it? What are the laws and its functioning? And a scientific analysis of this society says the most defining thing about this country is it's a capitalist, imperialist mode of production. That all of our needs are met through exploitation and people laboring in conditions all over the world to get the food we need, the clothes we wear, the pens we use, the microphones. All of this is created through global networks of production. And that all of our cultures, all of our ways of living, all of our ways of relating grow out of and have to reflect and more or less correspond to that. And so when we live in a society where the exploitation and oppression of black people has been woven into that mode of production all the way down to today, it leads to the culture and the society and the kind of police terror that we have today. That's applying science to a social contradiction.
You should just focus on what you also feel it's important to you, rather than just pointing finger to a person who is also explaining what is going through. And I found it so similar with the same scenario that also other groups are also doing. Talk about the Chinese, the Asians, the Latinos. While they complain, while they say, even some Africans, but while they complain that black Americans are always complaining, black Americans are talking too much. This talking too much is what has brought about the civilization that they have. This talking so much that they are saying has brought some changes, has brought some significant changes in these setups. The struggles that people face, it is a black person who came and stood and talked about this. And this is what has brought a change here. So when we say that let them just say what they're saying, I believe that it is important and it's going to help large number of people, you know. So guys, tell me what to think about this situation. And I hope that you're doing fine wherever you are, because I feel like people just complaining about things which are not there. If you're given chance of talking, just go and say what you're saying. Just go and talk what you're talking. Leave alone pointing fingers to black people because they've said something and you feel like you don't connect with it. What's the problem if a black person expresses himself? How is it a problem to you? You have your own problems to talk about. Why don't you focus on your problem? You know. So I hope this video finds you well wherever you are, because these are things and these are mistakes that we need to talk about as people. Let's meet on my next episode. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute. Hey.